Hi, it's John here again, and I'm in St James's graveyard in Charleville, and the just going to do a quick tour now and show some of the key features that we found in a survey that we did here just over a year ago. The church and graveyard is right in the heart of Charleville town, and it's the main road between Cork City and Limerick City runs through Charleville, so it can be quite a busy spot. That's the main road down there, you can see out through that gap. And the St James's Church was converted into a library. We're going to go in there in a sec. We'll move down along now and just look at. And as part of the library, this front plaza is a kind of meeting spot in the town. You see a lot of people waiting here for pickups with their shopping and so on. As formerly part of the graveyard, it has a very grand grave monument out the front to the Bruce family. That's it there, in the main street beyond. And as we look back, you see the plaza and then the church behind it. The church is fascinating because in the town history, the first Earl of Orrery, Roger Boyle, one of Richard Boyle's sons, who was a flaring terror in Cromwellian times, a very successful military commander on both Protestant and, let's say, royalist sides. He built the church on this spot originally, and what's interesting, he named it after St James, which is after the Jacobite cause. Just going now into the lovely warm library. The oldest headstone that we have outside is 1777. We'll look at that in a minute. But inside there's a lovely wall plaque here in the hall. And there's two sides. On the right hand side, take the memory of Jane Copley. And here on the left, though, is an early one. The date that's on it is February 1679. So even if that goes up 10 years later, it's one of the older mortuary monuments in County Cork and fringing on County Limerick. Kings at the bottom. So Hick Jacket, Evan Gwyn, the Garrett Granog, I don't know, it seems to me it's got a Welsh sound to it. We'll try and translate it later. Hello. But at 1679, even had 10 years on, that's lovely and early. Oh, look. The old streetscape. So the church is now a library. The whole feel of the place is quite different, and unfortunately in the past the graveyard, which is prominently at the back, underwent an awful lot of cleanups, or a couple of cleanups at least. So there's two main groups of headstones backing in the wall. There's one in the corner up there, and there's another group over here against the wall. We'll go over and look at them. These cleanups, they tended to happen in Ireland over the years. If people wanted to cut the grass, and you can see, cut the grass and take the headstones out, and people are still buried there, but the location of the graves is lost as a result. A new commemoration stone gone in here, lest we forget, 1914, 1916, 1917. So the sons of Charleville district who died in the Great War. That wasn't here the last time I was here. Whereas here, back again this wall, you can see ex situ, headstones out of place. Henry Francis Allen, barrister at law, Esquire, 1840. 1837, his son. This then is the oldest headstone outside, in memory of Mary Jameson, wife to the above Hugh Jameson, who died 1777. You can see that there, can you? doesn't need a light. 1777. So that's part of another monument, but it's ex situ here. This one then, just early 1867, but what I like about it is that I think it's one of our Bolster stones. The carving just has a hint of him. I think that's also Joseph Bolster. The reason I think that, it's 1849, we know he was cutting then, but it has the usual outer border of his school, so if he didn't do it himself, then it was probably done in his yard out of the turrets. And this one then as well, I think, is a Joseph Bolster. Just has this beautiful kind of precise style, erected by Michael Brennan to the memory of his son Michael. Part of this life, 1855, age 9 years, thy will be done, O God. Broken, ex situ, probably had a cross on top there, I suppose. But what's interesting about it is that it's just so nicely done, and it's Joseph Bolster, who we're going to come to again in a minute. And now as I stand in front of it here, sacred to the memory of Jane, the infant daughter of William Morris, Esquire, Londonderry Regiment, who died 16th of March 1809. That's one of the early ones here. Poor little Jane. The Sanderses here, they were a big family here. They had a big estate just outside town. The little pink granite stone there, they're Sanderses as well. Joseph Bolster's style there. The reason I'm so interested in Joseph Bolster is that you've probably noticed in some of our other videos, is that he's one of our main stone cutters in County Limerick. The whole southern half of County Limerick and parts of North Cork as well. You'll see a very accomplished style of stone carving and letter carving. And this is where Joseph lived, in the town of Charleville. And he built houses probably throughout the town. So we think he was a builder and a stonemason, stone cutter and letter carver. And here you can see these ex situ monuments, are grave monuments here. And right in the corner here, I don't know what's behind this railing, but right in the corner there is a headstone for Joseph, erected by Joseph for his own wife, Joseph Bolster. And that's this one here. So it has that lovely swag that he does. He's done it on buildings as well as on headstones. This monument was erected by Joseph Bolster to the memory of his beloved wife Jane. She departed this life on the 16th day of September 1844, I think. So it's a pity it's out of place. We don't know where Jane is buried, but it's a very important stone in the whole collection of Bolster carved headstones that we have here. There's potentially also one that's for a Sanders. So a lot of Irish graveyards, Catholic and Protestant, have been cleaned up over the years, and the headstone stood off to the side, and it was a mistake. Probably done with the best of intentions in most cases, but definitely a mistake. Just have a quick mosey around here. There you can see what you would call, he's almost a high vault. There's a burial chamber under that, and then here these grassy mounds are barrel vaults. So there's you stepped down into a burial chamber under there, and here as well. See those, quite distinctive for County Cork, but you'll get them all over the country. That one over yonder, there, that's got a ledger slab on top. Probably not access through the top, probably access through the east face. So there you can see St. James's. I mentioned the Earl of Array earlier. He was a real royalist, even though but he was very anti-Catholic. So he fought. He even represented Cromwell. He was against him first, and then he fought for him very successfully. But the whole thing, he just he was part of that new structure that came in Cromwellian times. That very violent time in Ireland that changed things for the next couple of 100 years. And Roger Boyle was one of the key actors in that. And but even though he served Cromwell, he only had to obey him in military matters, not in other matters. And he named Charleville, when he founded Charleville and built the town, after Charles II, showing that he wanted the restoration of the monarchy. And he named this church after the Jacobite cause for St. James. So an expression landscape of political intent, and I believe there's still pro-Jacobite groups out there who wish to restore that line to the monarchy across the water. So the past is still alive all around us, no more so than here in the lovely town of Charleville. So while we're having a look at my notes here now, part of what we're doing here is we're trying to track what the graveyard would have looked like over time, and what the social history of the community was like over time. And one way we do that is we analyse the names and the dates that are on the stones. And when we analyse the dates that are on the stones, we do maps within the system. So you can do this. This map up here shows the headstones 1800 to 1830, pretty much all grouped around the edge, unfortunately. The middle one 1800 to 1844. So again, we're seeing the distribution probably reflecting the cleanup of the graveyard rather than the actual burial. There's only one headstone in here that dates properly to the period of the famine, 1845 to 1852, and that's back over there, where we were looking earlier, and that's the total distribution. And if you factor in the 1679 then on the inside, you're looking at about 30 odd grave memorials. The ones 1800 to 1830, any of the Peter Robinson families who were watching this video, those people there, if you search in, if you go to historic graves and then explore names, you can search graveyards by date, and that'll show you some of the prominent names that your families may have heard of, may have had social connections to in terms of tenantries and things like that. So a lovely clear day here in Ireland in January. Snow's on the ground in places, but the place is busy, full of life. And I'll leave it there. Okay, slán.